Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We are the Fair Hair Trilogy. I'm Ashley.
I'm Callie.
And I'm Lindsay.
Today we are discussing part 2 of Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I'll put a card right up here for part 1. If you missed it, go ahead and check that video out before this one, and let's jump into it.
So where do you guys want to start?
Not with hitting our elbows on the wrought iron bed, that's for sure.
Did you like it? Are you ready to be done? Like, were you guys ready to be done? Or did you like it?
I honestly could go back to book 1 and read all over again. I loved this world. You don't agree?
Interesting.
I really liked it. Whenever books have that thing where the main conflict gets resolved and then something else happens that they have to fix. So like when Mingyu released all of the ghosts and when the Citadel left and all that, I felt like that was kind of like the main climax and it ended. And then Laszlo was taken, so then we have to go back. So I feel like that kind of extends it and makes it feel longer. And so that kind of made the timing off for me. It made me feel like it was dragging out just a tiny bit. It was, but I still loved it. It was so good.
Interesting. What about you?
I really liked it, and I liked the characters a lot. Most of them. Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought everything was tied up in a neat little bow at the end. I would give it like 4 stars.
Out of 5. It's not too bad. How did you feel when she killed Arelphane and Azarine and then they got to live?
Oh, I loved that. That was so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that I was fine with them dying because I was like, okay.
Yeah.
He had finally forgiven himself. He came to terms with it. They died together.
Right.
But then when she did the loop, I was like, this is disgusting.
Really? You didn't like it?
Hated it. I loved the gift. Hated the loop. Because then it was just like a slap in the face when she just purposely like ended it again.
That's true.
And I'm like, Mina didn't do it.
Mingyu turned out to be like,
I know.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know. And when her little tooth fell out at the end,
I
she
know,
said
like,
part of my body fell off.
Yes. For me, with the Arelphane and Azarine thing, I really felt like it was very symbolic of their whole relationship. Like how they got to start over after everything happened. How it was like they died and came back into a new life, and I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Like just the symbolism of that. Like that was kind of like what happened to them. Like they had to go through this life of, you know, all their history and all the trauma that they went through, but then had that rebirth of, and then they had the baby, they named him Laszlo, like, oh, that was the best.
I know, that was really sweet.
And so I just felt like it was symbolic. I don't know. I know, like, you know, you kill characters and you bring them back. Some people are like, but
yeah,
I liked it. No, I liked it. I thought that was great, so.
Like even Sarai, like she died.
Yeah, like she just likes that concept, and it's cool to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
In my book, if you die, you're dead. There's no way around it. I'm sorry.
And I think that that's the beautiful thing about magic, but it's still the thing about magic where you're like,
yeah, like it needs to follow rules.
I did like that she gave Nova and Kurako a last conversation.
Yes, I loved that.
I did like that. I thought that was good. I just wasn't expecting there to be another villain. You know, like a villain on top of a villain.
Right.
Like that.
When she jumped into the sea, it was assumed that she wasn't dead. Did they say something?
She left it very open-ended, didn't she? Like, is she dead, or could she come back, or?
Oh, I thought she dropped from the Citadel. I thought she took the banister, like, so if this was her and this was the banister, I thought she took the banister and just, like, fell, like, a big, big height into the sea, and then that would immediately kill her.
But there was a line. There's a line there.
Well, I remember there being something that...
Is there any way we can pull that up?
Yeah.
But when Nova turned to face her, she looked more sane than Sarai had yet seen her. She spoke, and Kiska translated. It knew my name, Nova said. She was calm. The sea always knew my name. And then she took a step back. The bull strayed was there, but then it wasn't. She hadn't given back Laszlo's gift yet. For a moment, her eyes locked on Sarai's. All the ice was gone from them. They were brown and tired and sad. Just as Sarai realized, just as she reached, Nova leaned back and fell. That's it. That was a line.
No, I feel like I remember, maybe it was somewhere else, but I want to say the same thing, that I remember there was some little tidbit that was like, did she really
Yeah, that sounded pretty final to me.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe we were wrong. Who knows?
I said that when it kind of was like those few chapters where it was just her perspective, like how she got from, like she got the diadem and then she got to the, like she was chasing her sister. I thought that would be like a great story. That would be an amazing like mini series. The 200 years in between, like when she got to the city where the emperor had died and walking through that portal,
stealing powers and jumping worlds.
I just thought that was so cool.
Okay, I want to talk about one, I would have called it a plot hole because it's not a big enough little thing to be a plot hole, but it was something that I didn't understand. So when Nova comes in and she is attacking everybody in the Citadel, she sees Laszlo and she says, "Oh, it's Skaithus," right? She immediately is like, "That is Skaithus," and she wants to attack him, so she does what, you know, her thing. But if Laszlo looked so much like Skaithus, how come no one in Weep ever like did or said any, like, I know he wasn't blue, but like I wanted there to be a moment where one of the girls was just like, "You look a lot like Skaithus." You know what I mean? Like someone to say something to the effect, because if she like immediately saw him and was like, "You look so much like Skaithus," I wanted there to be like something to the effect of like, "Laszlo, you kind of resemble that god of monsters. Like, did you know that?"
I think it's because she saw him when he was young, and Laszlo when he was young, and then no one else had seen Skaithus when he was young. They had only seen him when he was older.
Yeah, and she said that he was wielding the Misarthian.
Right.
So it must be him.
Yeah, and he was blue at that time, so.
I guess upon like first glance, but yeah, that's interesting. I didn't.
Yeah, because I like when I read that, I was like, there should have been that moment when one of the girls was like, you know, like did a double take.
Because then the other one said, "No, that's not him."
Right. Yeah.
The other one that was with her, and they were like, "No," because they had seen him when he was older. A lot of worth being thrown around in this book.
Yes.
Like monetary or not monetary. I liked the quote about the amount that she was worth she held in her hands, you know? That kind of
stung.
Yeah. Predictions from last week. What were y'all's predictions? Were any of them right? Mine was not. About Thyon, who I've been calling Thyron this entire time, and I didn't realize it until I started reading the second part of the book, and I thought that they had made a misprint.
There was one moment where you saw the name printed.
The first time I saw his name in the second part, I thought, "Oh, they just forgot the R," and then like it kept going, and I was like, "Oh, this is so embarrassing," because he's my favorite character. I've been saying his name wrong the whole time. Like my mind added an R.
Yeah.
Hi.
No, I don't know. But I thought he was gonna die for Laszlo. He didn't.
He would have if he was in the right place.
I love that he apologized and they had that moment in the end. Probably had the most character growth, like from where he started to where it ended.
Nova.
And I liked that. Yeah, that's true. I liked that because we see evil characters like him all the time in novels, and they just remain the exact same, or they'll have like a split second of good. And she wrote a quote that I thought was really a beautiful thing, that he was talking about, you know, himself kind of, or I think he was thinking about like his story, and she said it turned out that sometimes it's enough to start doing things differently now. And I thought that was,
I think that was the
genius.
quote. Yes.
Was it? I just thought that was a great moment, because we never see characters like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We never see characters like that, and Thyon really did. Like, he decided he was going to change, and that was what he did.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
I think he really wanted to be a part of the group. You know, like there was that moment where he was like looking from the outside in, and he was like, well, what do I need to get there? Oh yeah, I need to do some soul searching, you know?
And I love that he was the one who had the Misarthium to give to Minya.
She made everything really fate-based. Like, if he wouldn't have done A, B, and C, then he wouldn't have had...
Yeah, like if one character was subtracted,
it was like a
the
big
whole
butterfly
thing
effect.
fallen apart.
Yeah. So what was something else that was predicted last week? I wrote a note that said we were right. That was about Skaithus killing the Emperor, and that Kraka had no choice but to follow him.
What a evil person to kill all the Smith babies. no one can be as strong as me.
He was brutal.
It reminded me of like the Egyptians, like Pharaoh, when they killed all the baby boys,
yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yes.
Hebrews. Like they don't want anyone rising up to be stronger than them, so they just wipe out little babies.
Which is interesting that he didn't just kill Nova.
Yeah. He thought, I guess, she was as good as stranded up there. So we figured out that Karaku took Laszlo, put him in a safe place. In the orphanage in the middle of a war.
That is
Where they
cool.
abused him, yeah. Because it's in their head a lot, like all the different terms, all the different names, all the different characters, but when someone's reading it for the first time, it's like,
Oh,
the
like you're
directory,
seriously
I need, yeah.
gonna put 5 worlds in like
Yeah.
3 paragraphs?
I love it.
Oh.
If you are a diehard fan, like just
That's true.
if this is your favorite book, you're gonna go back and reread this.
And I do
And you're
think-
gonna look for
Like,
like
you want more information?
But that's what she's
She
gonna write more
throws the
books
names
though.
out there.
Like I think that's gonna be part of her other books that she's gonna
she
write.
has a
She's
did you see?
And I'm wondering if they're in her first series.
they may be, yeah.
Because
yeah,
it
they
really
really
does-
I
oh, I
loved
know,
that.
I
That was
saw
so
it.
cool.
And then
in
there's
a
a
language
key.
yeah.
A little key so you can read it.
And that's why people get tattoos in this language.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So you know.
I didn't even notice that.
Because you could
I
argue
like
the
that.
same thing for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, those are really hard to read though.
Yeah. Me and Michael started them. And
Yeah,
like
they're
the
hard.
first scene took us like 2 hours to read.
Oh, the first series where she ties it in and she is talking about all the worlds and then she says, but in another place there is a young queen and she is fighting the darkness, hopefully, so it won't, you know.
So was that the
getting
beast?
away. I don't know.
Oh man.
Another story. I thought that was really
I
neat
loved
that she
that,
did
yeah.
that. And she didn't give anything away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like,
But it's just enough to be like,
I want to read that other series
gotta
now because
read
she
it.
dropped it in here. You predicted about the portal jumps, and you were right.
well, we had a lot of predictions around that.
We said that Karako could jump, that she was a portal jumper.
Yeah.
We thought that Sarai was going to be let go.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
She almost was.
I was going to say, do y'all think she should have been?
Yes.
Well, they totally put that whole part about maybe there's someone who can get me a body again, right? That scene with her and Laszlo in the end. So
Yeah.
then it's like it ends with
Oh, like that's
the end, and then or is it? So it's like maybe she's gonna write another book where Sarai gets to have her body back. I don't know.
I don't like the cheesy happy endings where it's like you just pull gifts like that out of thin air.
Mm.
You know? I
But I
think
think
she
of
should
it-
have been let go. It would have been a beautiful first love for Laszlo, and he would have moved on.
He would have moved
I
on.
think he would
Would
have
have
moved
found
on.
Two.
Listen.
Give it a
He
couple
would
years.
have found all those 1,000 other half babies.
So they're all pretty much like brothers and sisters.
They're all in the record with
Yeah,
the
and Suhaila.
Suhaila.
Should find her baby.
That would be so amazing if she got to find
Oh
her
my
baby.
gosh, the fact that she went with them.
Yes.
No.
That was
I
the sweetest
loved it.
thing.
She was a
making
great-
a cake.
It's like
Yeah.
a real Ellen. Like they had like a real
Yeah.
person that loved them and took care of them. I loved that.
And then a grown-up Minya.
And I guess she'll just hold on to Sarai forever.
Yeah. So that means if Minya dies, she dies.
That means they can't even separate too far because of the tether.
See.
I think they'll find somebody that has a gift that can, I don't know.
Of
that
course they will.
He'll, I don't know, put a body inside another body. But what kind of body is she going to pick? Like the host? Remember, did y'all ever read that by Stephanie Meyer?
Yes.
Okay. You know, that one was like one of those where it's like,
Yeah. I
okay.
can't remember what happened.
They just like found a body that,
Was
the
about to
aliens.
die.
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, because Laszlo was like talking about her full bottom lip and her hair that's cinnamon, and like, what if she like gets into a whole other body? We love the soul, but the attraction is important. Just throwing that out there.
and I'll tell you, I really thought that they were going to, with his time loop, make a way out of this whole thing. Like, be able to go back in the past and like do something about it.
It was a
And then-
10-second.
And then like 2 sentences later, she was like, "It's only for 10 seconds."
I
Like
thought
she
the
added
same
that
thing.
in
I was
there
like,
so we
they're going to
wouldn't
go
hope.
back and undo everything, but
I was like, well, then what's the point of his gift?
It's a pretty lame gift.
it's just a trap for 10,
Like, can you
10
imagine
seconds.
thinking that you can control time travel and then it's like only 10 seconds?
And it was that baby that he did it. The baby that
Yeah.
grew up.
Oh yeah, he thought it was funny.
So
Yeah.
then they feel it every time. They're like, oh my gosh, this is the second time. Oh, this is the third time.
I think they just lived it and then like lived it.
Wow.
Like, just
Because they
cat-
said that the baby started crying
Yeah, I guess
after
so,
a while
then.
and the throat burned or something. Wouldn't want that gift.
I would not want that gift.
I said that the portal could have been a parallel world too, and that was not.
That would have been cool. So what was your favorite part of the entire 2 books?
It's a hard question. Of both of them?
I loved Errol Fane and Azarine. I think from the video one, we were all like, that love story, remember?
Yeah.
And we were like clutching our chests, like, oh.
Yeah.
And it was restored, so I really like that.
I ended up liking Errol Fane a lot.
Yeah.
Mm.
I really liked all the dreams. I liked when Sarai went into Laszlo's dreams and all the scenes, you know, the places that they got to go.
I liked when the kids got pastries. I liked all of the magic. Like, I liked the fact that he could control it, and I liked all the gifts. I liked seeing who was going to have a different gift. I liked Thion's story. I thought his character development was very unique, and I think I'll always remember that one. I didn't really care about any of the love stories in this one. And usually I'm a big love story person, and these all
None of
ended
them?
well, and I'm like, no.
They all ended well, you said?
Yeah.
Too well?
No, I just I wasn't attached to the love stories in this one. So who was your favorite pairing?
I mean, there's really only 3 couples.
Right, but if only one of them could have worked out.
Azarine and Errol Fane.
Me too. Hands
I mean,
down.
they were, that whole story was just heart-wrenching.
I thought that when Wraith went inside Sarai that she was going to somehow, give her life or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That could have been, an easy out for Laini Taylor.
I remember having a thought when that happened, but I didn't know what it was going to be. Maybe I thought that she was going to turn, the Wraith was going to be able to turn into her and, stay her. Rocco, somehow.
2 people, 1 body.
Yeah, or something. That was, such an odd story to add in the last book, because that is over now.
What would have happened if Cora and Nova were not involved?
It's been shorter. We could have done it both parts in one video.
No, but I mean, plot-wise, what did they bring?
An extra 150 pages to this novel that could have been thrown out and made into another series.
And
I mean, Laszlo's
the answers.
alive because of her.
Okay, that's
Still
true.
would have been alive.
Karaku, we got answers to
Oh
Karaku.
no,
we
he
got
would have been taken. He
we
would have been
did get-
sold.
we did
No, he
get-
would have been killed by Karaku by
Scathus.
Scathus, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but I mean, they had their own plot. They had their own plot.
I think that we needed them to get answers.
I did weave in beautifully,
Yeah.
but it was just a lot.
I loved Riva though. I liked seeing their life on Riva.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah,
I
the
loved
owl
yes.
and the red water and the abusive parents and
Yes, it was so Dark Ages.
and now to know that it was worlds away.
I think all of that with the Seraphim, it was just so much information. I think that Nova and Rocco deserved at least 1 book on their own though. I would like a parallel they did with the first, she did with the first book with Laszlo and Sarai, where it's they were living the same life but it was different points of view. So I would have liked to know what Nova was doing for 200 years and Karako.
Ooh.
What if she would have written Muse of Nightmares and that would have been the 3rd book? What if she would have written Nova and Karako in between Strange the Dreamer and it wouldn't have even mentioned these characters until the end of the 2nd book?
So we got to see all about the gods in the Citadel, all about the babies.
And then it ends with Karako taking Laszlo out and...
You would almost know more than the characters when you get to the
Right, it
third.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
oh, they're selling the kids. It would be no,
Yeah.
we've seen them sell these kids, put them in those cages.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I think I would have liked that.
Laini Taylor.
That would have been awesome, but it's too late now.
Is it?
I think I would like for her to write a book, though, to know what happened in those 200 years. Y'all both said Errol Fane's your favorite moment. Errol Fane and Azarine?
Yeah.
I just didn't like Azarine that much, y'all.
Why? She
No.
stuck with him.
I know, I mean, God bless her.
She could have been a woman to be like, you're not treating me right.
She could have.
And she was a warrior. And when he said go, he was gonna fight Nova, and she stayed. Come on.
Yeah.
How can you not love her?
I mean, I liked her. I just
She's not a
didn't
victim.
love her. I just didn't love her. I don't know. There was just something about all of these love stories that, like, I didn't think they were beautiful. Wow. It's weird, isn't it? That's the exact opposite of what y'all thought I was going to say.
Yeah.
I know, I don't
That
know.
one song.
But I thought everybody's character development was wonderful.
From the eyes inside your soul.
Oh, you're gonna catch a cold.
Yeah, that's what
Oh, yeah.
From the eyes inside your soul.
That was an old one. It was very action-packed. I feel like she just knit everything together really well.
Yeah, I mean, she really did. It's incredible.
This is one of my
What?
favorite
I know, me too. Chapter 62, The Ones Who Know. Do you want to read it?
Sure. Well, I already read. Does someone else read it?
The Ones Who Know. Once upon a time, a sister made a vow she didn't know how to break, and it broke her instead. Once upon a time, a girl did the impossible, but she did it just a little too late.
Ugh.
Once upon a time, a woman finally gave up, and the sea was waiting. It was the wrong sea, red as blood and just as warm, but falling felt like freedom and letting go of trying. This is what y'all are talking about. And on the way down, she took her first full breath in centuries. Then it was all over. Or maybe it wasn't.
See, I knew that part was there.
The ones who can't tell us and the ones who tell us don't know.
Ooh.
Let me think about that real quick. Who can't tell us and the ones who tell us don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like legends.
Mm-hmm.
Like fairy tales.
Or like people who've gone to heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're gone now, you can't tell us. Or maybe it wasn't.
I wonder if that means literally, like, she didn't die, or they don't know what happens after they die. Because she talks a lot about...
Oh yeah,
Not
that
a lot.
literally makes total sense because it's attached to this.
But not really attached to that.
But kind of attached to that.
Right, that's what makes it in the gray.
That does speak about the afterlife, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that Nova talks about something in the afterlife a couple of times. So she has a lot of really good life quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really hard to do.
When you take fictional fantasy
Mm-hmm.
and it can apply to your actual life
Yes.
in the real world.
Oh, that's interesting, because I actually wrote, we can all relate to this. As the party took flight, Thyron, Earthbound, felt every choice he'd made, every action he'd taken as a weight he carried with him.
Ooh.
And I thought, we really can all relate to that. Like, everybody's done something where it's like you see, like, your consequences, or
Yeah.
you see how
you got here.
oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this or this or this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's ties into the end when she says, you know, it turned out that sometimes it's enough to just start doing things differently now. And he did. I think that was one of the moments that he saw, like, oh, I would like to be a new person now. I'm proud of him, y'all.
I know. It's kind of low way.
He's probably one of my favorite fictional characters of all time.
Wow.
Wow.
I know. I said it.
It's a big
It's
statement.
on here now.
On record.
Would you say that this is a great book? Like a great duology?
I feel like you're trying to get us to say something bad.
I'm just shocked that y'all liked it this much.
Why?
I don't know.
Talk, Lizzie. Say something. I don't know what to say.
Just like waiting for you to say something.
I mean, I really liked it. I really, really liked it, but
But you didn't?
But what were you so disappointed in? Like, I don't
I
understand.
love stories, y'all, and it was such a big part.
Mm.
I just wanted it to be an adventure book. Like, every time something good was cooking up, like, they were getting all these... We didn't even find out what books they got out from the library.
Yeah, you didn't say that you wanted to see that.
Yeah.
And then she sucks all the mesotherium out of the thing and destroys the city. Oh, and then Nova, once she got going really good, it was 200 years. I'm like, well, what in the heck happened? Did she not talk to somebody and ask about the Emperor, or like what had happened? Or I guess she didn't care because she was like soul mission. What y'all think about her killing herself at the end?
she had become totally obsessed on the mission to find her sister, and when that was gone, she had no purpose.
So did she think that she still had hope? Do you think that there was still hope?
I felt like that totally undermined everything that Sarai had did in her dream, because it looked like she was like coming to terms with it, and that she was gonna be able to move on, and then all of a sudden she gets out of it and just like kills herself.
But
It's
maybe
like,
that line
Oh, go ahead.
was to see her sister in the afterlife.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
That's a really good point, Ashley. I didn't even think about that.
She said that she could only carry 5, or 5 was the most she'd ever carried.
And then she got Minas, and she was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
it's too strong."
Yeah.
I know.
I really thought she was going to be the villain, and it resolved quite quickly with her. I thought that Minya was going to be
More of a villain?
a bigger issue than she ended up being, because she woke up right at the right time to where Nova was there.
I was like genuinely scared though when it talked about Nova and Mina were just sitting there like staring at each other, and I'm like, she can take your gift. And she did not care.
Yeah.
At that point, she was so furious at every single person on the planet.
So I really like that when they said that when she had let go of all of those ghosts, that she finally could feel like a fullness coming back into her, because all of those tethers was like despair and disgust and hatred.
Fear.
Yeah, and like that was what I think that embodies Minya, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so now she's starting to actually be like a regular real person. So
And that part about how all of her love and her kindness went to the Ellens.
yeah.
And so none of it could be in her, but
Right.
when the Ellens went away, the pieces came back.
Yeah.
So that was really beautiful.
I love that.
I'm really sad that the Ellens were not good.
But it was Minya the whole time.
See, but I feel like, do you remember that moment when she let them go, and there was like one moment where like they came back and there was like eagle eyes, and they were like, I was like, you spent 15 years up there with like regular kids, and you weren't changed? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like even if I was made to say and do, you're still in there, right? She said you were tucked away.
Oh, like you think they could still hear and see and understand?
Then she said that you could.
Oh. Well, then that would make me really mad if I was entrapped for 15 years and didn't have any free will.
Okay, but at the same time, you're seeing that these kids are just kids, and they want cake, and they're scared of monsters, and they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been cool if like they, you know, she let him go, and they were like
Smiling at least?
or at least like,
Instead of
you
hateful?
know, say like something like, it was nice knowing you, or like I'm sorry. Or like, I don't know.
I'm sorry I didn't
Like even just
about
like
getting sugar.
peace be with
Those
you, or
moms.
something like that.
Peace be with you.
Sorry I slapped you.
Yeah, I don't know, something.
Like baby and said, we're getting to go somewhere.
That was mean.
That was mean.
That
to
was
a child.
abusive.
To a child?
They were pretty
I
bad.
guess they themselves were kidnapped and forced into this nursery. What makes me curious is why Errolfane's the only one that thought, let's just kill them all.
Who was that guy with the pointy beard?
I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I say I don't know. I 100% meant that.
You have no idea what I'm talking about?
No.
Do you?
Are you talking about the guy that talked to the Ellens? Did he
The
have
guy comes in there and he says, Errolfane's here, he's killing everybody, you're gonna be free. The guy with the beard, who was that?
Yes!
I don't know.
I think it's right that he gets to do this.
Right? You should do the honors.
One more person. Couldn't somebody else have just done it? We get one more character.
Like,
There's
what about that
eight
guy? That guy was
people
there. He threw them the knife. Like, here, keep going.
Was it that
To
one
the
guy from the
Ellens.
council?
But why didn't... What?
Remember from the first book?
Maybe.
Remember he said, I can't go back up there with you?
Mm-hmm.
But that was...
Yeah.
I needed more.
Did they ever explain how he got up there?
How who? How who got up where?
How Errolfane was able to kill everybody and do that. Because he saw Azarine
And screaming.
and scream, and so that kind of like, what, broke?
Took a trigger in his head.
And then
from
what, he
Lengtha.
just grabbed a knife and... What, like...
Do you remember the part
I
where
don't
like...
remember how it, like,
No, I
happened.
know. I don't know from point A to point B. Like, did he plan?
Because I guess he was so, like, mind-controlled that they didn't think to, like, keep objects away from him
Right.
or anything. So, like, I guess
Okay.
he could have just been, like, sitting at the table and, like, oh, it snapped. But that doesn't really make sense either. How did it just...
Because there's Azarine's screams. It was true love, Lindsay!
But don't you think?
But that's her power, though. That's the whole point. Like,
but she would play with it. Remember, they talked about her leaving a
yeah,
little
maybe
bit
it was
disgust.
maybe it was one of those moments where it like backed off a little bit.
Yeah,
and
or
pushed through
you
it
just
and-
don't quite know what level to go, and you just took advantage of it. And that scream was just that one little push, and then you just massacred the whole place.
So how did? I'm sorry. Now I'm like
No.
actually thinking about it.
No, I know, me too.
How did
I'm
he like
I don't-
survive all the other? So like he kills one of them. How does he survive the others?
That's probably the guy with the pointy beard.
Like this is the first time I'm like actually thinking about it. That doesn't make sense.
No, I know. Like that, I know. That's what I wanted to
Because
kinda,
it's like if he
bring
kills,
that up
like say
because-
he's there, he kills Isagold,
Okay.
right? Well, Scathis runs in. Scathis is a
Unless
smith.
unless
What
didn't
about
have
all the
time
other
to scream.
gods? Like that actually. Now I'm really curious. That doesn't.
Because there had to have been a point, and so because Sarai says in book 1 that she was sleeping in Errolfane's bed, and she was like the same bed that he laid here for 6 months plotting to kill.
Oh.
And I'm like, so was he only up there for 6 months? But he was up there for 3 years, wasn't he?
3 years, yeah.
And then
Because
Azarine
Azarine got pregnant and she was round with a belly when she came down, and she remembers it.
when he started hearing Azarine scream, I think that's when he started plotting it.
Right.
But like, why would they even let them all hang out?
Right, like the
Why would
like
they let the
unless,
concubines spend time together?
but
But
like
no, they're in their own little
even
rooms.
even if they were all
But
in the
he had
same
to have been,
room with
I don't
Errol.
know what that was, and I'm just doing my face, but like,
Didn't she say that they climbed the utility rope that brought in the supplies?
good lord, I don't know what. When?
Yeah.
Did they deserve to be trapped in their own bodies with someone that they hated for how they treated those children?
Yes.
That's tough though, because they themselves were taken against their will.
Okay, but
At the
at the
beginning.
same time, you cannot treat children like that. Those children
That's fair.
were not evil.
That's
and,
fair.
You know
The
what I mean?
6, like OGs,
Yeah.
like the original, like the original
God,
original gods.
they were evil and probably, yeah, did deserve to die because I saw no good in Scathis.
Yeah.
Krako, now that we know her story, that's a little tougher.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't deserve to die. But she had to go.
She did play along with his plan, though. I mean,
She locked those kids up.
she locked them up.
and
She sold them
into
and
slavery.
She played a
For Warren
part.
Smith, and it was for her own, it was going to be for
Agenda.
her own agenda.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you're right.
That one line where it was like that Scathis came up with the slave trade after the fact. Like, he just liked to rape them. Because he was truly...
It's like you don't think it can get any worse, and then
Right.
she put that one line
and it's
there.
like,
it was
ooh,
brilliant.
It's like
it
the
was darker
making the
than
money
dark.
off of it was like the afterthought.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She did write one of my favorite characters. I'll always be thankful to her for that.
I
just
really
think
liked her writing style.
Me too.
I think that was really beautiful.
her mind is absolutely
Yeah, like-
fascinating.
The way she put all the pieces together,
Not a single plot hole,
that was beautiful.
language,
Mm-hmm.
a new place. I just wanted to explore the world more, and I just
You have a great idea of doing a book with Nova and Crockett.
I just really hope she does that one day. I just think
Love
that
it.
would be so good. Even though we know it ends in tragedy. People do that all the time. People put that at the very beginning.
Yeah.
This book ends in tragedy.
And I'm like, yes. I seriously love when there's a bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Sarai was let go and Laszlo had to grieve, it's realistic, you know what I
It's
mean?
life, bro.
It's life. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's so sweet that they're going to save the other kids. Like they're
Yeah.
finally, it's like a new generation
yeah.
of good kids. And it even says like, some of them aren't going to be there. Some of them aren't going to want to come. We're going to try anyway. I wish that Scathis would have kept some kind of record. But I guess he went big on paperwork.
So he
huh?
did. You see, every single child was written down.
And how much
was it?
who was
Oh.
sold, who they were
No,
sold
I
to,
didn't
the
see that.
amount,
And their
their gifts.
I promise I read this book.
Did you?
I promise I read it. I just like have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You know, I said that she's not one of my favorite authors, but ask me in 2 weeks because once I've had some time to like
Digest, yeah.
think about it now, Theon Nero will always be one of my favorite characters. I think he's up there with some Harry Potter characters for me, and that's like a big deal because I've liked those for 20 years.
Do you have like ultimate favorite character, like, of anything?
Probably if I sat down and like really thought about it. Do y'all?
No.
Yes.
Who's yours?
My all-time favorite character of any book, any movie, any TV series is Sister Monica Joan from Call a Midwife. She is amazing. She's my
like
favorite character of
you're
all
talking
time.
about written TV and
Like,
movie.
of any character at all. She is my absolute favorite character. Yes, of all time.
Oh man, yeah. Why?
Do you see yourself in her?
Why? It's so hard to even explain. She's an elderly woman. She's in her 80s. She has dementia. And so it's really funny because they
I
look...
just wasn't expecting that at all. But go ahead. That's so fascinating. Like I'm just like
I know, it's so weird, but like, so they don't let her do any midwifery. They don't let her touch any patients. Midwifery, yeah. They don't let her do any medical stuff. She's like retired. And they kind of look like are condescending to her sometimes, or kind of like look down on her. But then whenever anyone needs a word of encouragement, anyone needs a word of kindness, anyone needs an insight, she just says the most perfect things, and she's beautiful, and her backstory is beautiful, and everything she says is beautiful, and she's my favorite character of all time.
Wow.
So, yeah. This really digressed, I'm sorry.
You gotta go watch Call the Midwife.
I know, no, but this is like what we would talk about on your couch. So what about you? We could talk about this for a few minutes. Can't we?
I mean, when we first said that, my original thought was Doctor Who. I love him. But I don't have a good reason why. I just really like him.
Do you have a favorite doctor?
I mean,
Because they're all different.
Because
aren't
like
they?
they're
that's
all
like
the
a
same.
thing.
I know.
That's like a, like this is my doctor. Like I have a doctor and I haven't even watched all of them. I just saw him and I was like,
Who
that's
is
my
he?
doctor. David Tennant.
Really?
Tennant doctor.
I love him.
He is just like,
I would say he's actually probably my favorite doctor.
I don't know why. It's just I absolutely adore him. And I knew.
Have you watched that season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I knew like, it doesn't matter how many doctors I watch, it's like an instant connection. And Madison, my niece, said that Matt Smith is her doctor, and we never even watched his season.
He was good. He was good. You know, we just got done with him. I feel like it's like whenever you watch a doctor for like a whole season and a half, you're like so used to him,
Mm-hmm.
and then a new one comes, you're like, no,
Right,
or like
yeah.
a new sidekick, anything
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I'm like,
It takes so many episodes just to get used to them, and then you're sad to see him go at the end. You know?
Yeah.
Because we felt that with the first Doctor,
yeah,
Eccleston.
yeah.
And then it, like whatever.
I know. I
episode.
loved him too. I loved him, but my
I love
doctor is
Rose.
David Tennant. I did too.
Yeah.
Or do too.
You want anything?
I said I did too, but like that would be a huge spoiler because I used past tense.
Oh.
Yeah. But okay, favorite character of all time. Oh man, that is so tough. Sirius Black from Harry Potter. Matthew Crawley from Downton Abbey. And
Matthew Crawley?
I just think he was so good. And Dwight Ennis from Poldark are probably like, and Theon Nero. But
Wow.
yeah, like, which are just so weird secondary characters.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, those
But
are kind of like
and
all
no female.
like very, yeah, interesting.
Well, I was
I
gonna
really-
say Sybil from Downton Abbey, but I didn't want anybody to think I was crazy. Like, but it's just like they're so like in their heart, they're just such good people. Which people probably will come after me because I said that about Sirius Black, but.
See,
And I love good. I
It's
do love
so
them
funny
with
because
that
my
love
favorite
good.
character from Downton Abbey is Thomas Barrow, which is kind of the villain. a
Yeah,
little
he
bit.
is.
He's my favorite character in that show.
Very
I think that
misunderstood.
he's very misunderstood. His character like development was so good, his backstory and everything. Like
I did like Thomas.
he was my favorite.
I
I felt
feel
like he
that
had
with-
such depth to his character.
I feel that with Poldark.
Yeah, Poldark is very
The
similar.
villain in Poldark, what's his name again?
George.
Yeah,
George.
you can.
I
Every
love
single
him.
time we would watch
George.
Poldark, Ashley would be like, "I love George." And I'd be
I
like,
love.
What?
This is why I like George, because he is ambitious and he does not fault from that.
Mhm.
Like, and everyone knows, like, they're like, upstart, upstart. Well, they're all, even like the ones that are like, have a good name and have no
Yeah.
money. Okay, but like, he's hardworking, even though he is like a loan shark, but
And
you know,
like he came from nothing.
and he came from nothing. And from the beginning, that was his goal.
Yeah, and even Elizabeth,
That was
like
his goal.
when Ross came to talk to her, like after everything happened, he was like, "Oh, are you happy?" She's like, "I'm so happy. It's just his way now." Like talking about George, like, "Oh, that's just the way he's gonna be, and I'm totally fine with it." Like,
This is what I saw, is that George would never leave his family. He would never put his family in a vulnerable spot, but Poldark was constantly leaving his family, constantly leaving them kind of like, I don't know how else to say it, like with their bellies open, like vulnerable, while he was off like
yeah,
in a war and
caring about other
blah,
people.
blah.
he was putting the common good above his own wife and children, and that does not fly for me. I would rather you be crooked with your money and love your wife than be a hero in the public.
You know, and George was so, he
loved her.
I haven't seen this newest season.
Have we? Which one are we on?
I think I watched it with Mom and Dad, but I don't know that you're caught up.
But I think that he loves Elizabeth so much. And then he was so heartbroken when he found out, like, when Agatha basically told him that Ross and Elizabeth slept together. And that he just, like, he was cold towards her, but he still, like, loved her. It was just, like, kind of heartbreaking to watch. But the problem is, George is the American dream. It's set in England. And that's just, he was just, like, 200 years before his time.
Yeah. Misunderstood.
Yeah, just misunderstood. And Thomas is the same way, like, he just, they just couldn't
And to
move
bring it
past.
to bring it all back to Muse.
Right.
These are the best villains when they have their own
Yep.
story. You know, like think about Nova, think about Minya. They were all just doing their own thing to survive, and in someone else's story, they were the bad guy. You know.
Man. It's just too good. It really was a great 2 books.
Yeah, it was.
It was good.
I'm excited for more new books. So
I
feel
am
like
too.
this
We'll review
season-
those too.
It's ending on our channel. We've reviewed.
I know.
So many of our videos have been her
Laini
stories.
Taylor's duology here was our first. Strange the Dreamer was our first video ever, right?
Thanks for watching part 2 of Muse of Nightmares. Catch us next week for Quiet at the End of the World.
Bye!
Bye!